Carl and Damon here from Games, Brrraains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for sure, and it's They Made What into a TV series as we continue Starship Troopers Chronicles. Roughnecks, of course, and we are up to campaign number 5, the Zephyr campaign. Mixed bag of a campaign for me. I find this one, unfortunately, very boring at times. Very boring. But it does create some interesting developments and takes and pushes a character we haven't really had a lot of time with into a really new and interesting position.
Yeah. This one is again
slow.
It's a slow one. It's a mixed one. It's development characters. I actually remember this a lot from a kid too.
Yeah.
From a kid one, and this one was a nightmare to try and buy and find. Absolutely nightmare.
I don't understand why. Wonder why that is, because it's no different. Like, it's not like it's split up differently you know.
I couldn't find it in this country. I had to buy it from America, I think, or it might have been America or Canada, but it was never a region 2. It was always region 4, and it never worked on my DVD players. I had to change in the region. Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't get it at all. We are going to talk it through it of course, and as we go through, maybe some of it will become clearer. But I think it's super important, of course, if you're watching the show as we are, to follow along and not skip this because there are too many important developments. Yes. But I wouldn't necessarily say, when you compare it to Tesco, what came before, that you're going to be as thrilled. Maybe early signs of the writing being on the wall for this show.
Yes.
We open with Higgins reflecting on a failed mission on a planet called Kvok. Okay, could have seen that.
Yeah.
Apparently a lot of squads died, and even the Roughnecks barely got out alive. But they did. All of them, unsurprisingly.
Exactly.
He's been scarred from the events, and his visions of him being up against bugs with only a handgun, and he says that everyone needs a rest. So I thought it was interesting. Okay, it must have been pretty rough.
I like the fact that they talk about other campaigns, but would have been nice maybe to see a little flashback.
I always think things like this are the creators going, right, say this, and hell, you never know, further than the lives we can. We'll do side stories. Yeah. And we go to these other campaigns. Yeah. Following other squads.
Yeah, true.
On the Valley Forge, the superior officer shown a new weapon, and it's gas that melts the bugs from the inside out. Nasty. Mm-hmm. That's some serious chemical warfare. The material that creates the gas is in short supply though. But they think they can get more on an asteroid. And a science team has been sent. And they want to send some MI troopers to protect them just in case. And I just went,
I wonder who's going.
I wonder who it is.
Zephyr's going. The Zephyr team or Zebra.
Yeah, because what's interesting, when we do campaigns and you have the campaign's titles, it references the planet or moon that they're on. Zephyr is not the name of this asteroid. Zephyr is the science team.
Yeah, science team.
Yeah, so there's that aspect too. Rozak informs the squad of the new orders. I was shocked, I tell you, shocked. And they set out to land on the asteroid after checking in with the scientists who have apparently landed okay. The signals is lost, but Xander sees the asteroid in question. Rozak then notices a rash on Xander's neck, and Xander tells him that he has some allergies. So we are now about to enter one of the grossest things this show ever does. As they get ready to land, the rash on Xander's neck begins to bubble, and some sort of firefly-looking creatures burst out, causing chaos on the ship. It crash lands, Xander is unconscious, and Rico uses a fire extinguisher to deal with the flies. Some fly out as well. That was fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it was
disgusting. So if you don't know, I can deal with every type of horror. Except one. I have a problem. There's a type of horror that I struggle to watch that will sometimes, depending upon the film, actually make me feel physically sick. It's resulted in the fact that there's a series of movies that I've only ever seen once and I refuse to watch again because I find it too disgusting. Body issues. So body melting, body infections that result in your flesh-eating viruses, stuff that gets under your skin and bursts out and stuff like that. The movies that I'm talking about are Cabin Fever, where it's a flesh-eating disease.
Yeah.
I really struggle with these kind of movies because I don't know if it's the realism or it's the idea of things living under your skin. You know, you read shit about people having tapeworms and all that, and it makes me feel sick.
Sorry, I just had a Red Dwarf moment with the nanobots that eat all the clothes and the potatoes.
Yeah. But that's not so bad, and it's not everything.
I understand what you mean, because it's for a kids program. It's pretty gruesome.
It's gross.
Yeah,
The fact that it kind of bubbles up and then they burst out and it's like, ugh, that's gross. And to make it worse, afterwards, Doc suggests that something must have laid eggs on his skin on Kavok. I'm like,
Again, that's a big thing we missed, though. So basically, Xander's been infected by something.
Yeah, but again, like I said, I think it was for, one day we'd see what happened in Kavok.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
But at least they had a good explanation for it. It wasn't, because they could have very easily been like, something laid eggs on him on Teska.
Yes.
You know? But it implies the war's ongoing. I heard Xander apologise, but Razak points out, look, we landed in one piece. Ain't exactly your fault, is it? They have a brief discussion about the flies before noting the asteroid is a frozen rock with an unbreathable atmosphere. So, this is the ice level.
Yep.
This is what it is.
Now it's time to unpack the drawer and put the nuke in. Again.
It was a bit of that as well, yeah. Carmen and Gossa check over the ship before reporting back to Razak that the ship can't take off. But not only that, the communications are damaged and limited to short range only. They set off to find the scientists in smaller units, and the new item in this show is introduced. Ski shoes. That everybody is really good on.
Yes.
Which kind of bugs me. It's like, I'd be like, fuck am I going to do with those? Falling over everywhere. But everyone is like super good on them. Let's presume as part of their training they were trained, yeah? The asteroid is a barren wasteland of ice. And it does look like so.
Yeah.
It's a lot of white. Dizzy is not happy about being left behind with Gossard when Xander wakes up and tries to tell him what to do with his ship. And Dizzy tells him to go rest. The ship then rumbles and Rico and Carmen feel it where they are too. They turn around and see a massive avalanche coming towards them. They use the skis to get away, but Carmen falls and a tethered Rico, he tied a tether between him, drags him to the ground. He goes back for Carmen, but the pair are then hit by the avalanche snow. Buried under it, Rico finds Carmen okay, and she's angry he came back for her, and that his stupid emotions would have got them killed. Interesting touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's kind of like, he's like, oh, but I like you. And she's like, yeah, you got us both fucking killed. It's not, you're not supposed to do that.
Again, it also shows that the feelings are more one-sided.
Yeah. Rico starts to try and shoot his way of the snow while Carmen tries to call it in. And I thought, that what a great analogy for MI Troopers. Yeah. And buried in ice, shoot it out!
Shoot it out, yeah.
On the ship, we see a firefly survived and it causes some panic as it flies around. We see that it can breathe fire before it makes a beeline for Xander. Dizzy then shoots it before it can get to him, and Gossa tries to pick up his remains, but it's so hot it burns through his glove. So these things are quite interesting.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
With Brrraains to fight, they remark on how quickly the sun rises and sets. So it's interesting to see a different environment straight away.
Yes.
Brrraains sees something moving in the distance and sees some sort of bug. He calls Razak, but the comms are fried and you only get a snippet of a response. Razak was telling him to wait for backup, but Brrraains hears it as not to wait and go and investigate. Rico continues to shoot and Carmen notices that the more snow he shoots, the more it's burying them. Duh!
Obviously.
And he stops and they feel the ground shake. We then see fissures opening up in the asteroid and Carmen saves Rico from being crushed. So yeah, interesting developments on this asteroid.
Yep, already, yeah.
Yeah. A fissure opens up on the Razak and Doc, dropping them into a cave where they see giant leech-like creatures on the wall. And they just, don't wait to even try and be like, what are these? They just start shooting immediately. And I was like, yeah, you know what? You've had a rough day and you're like, fuck it, I don't care if it's normal for the asteroid, I'm killing it. At the ship, Dizzy tries to contact both the scientists and the teams out on the asteroid, but has no luck. Each team is up to their eyeballs in trouble. Rico and Carmen are now waist deep in water that will freeze. Yeah, that's interesting. Brrraains and Fire getting too close to the unusual bugs, and Razak and Doc are fighting off an armada of leeches. A group dive on Doc, smothering him. Seemingly thinking he's about to die, Doc activates a grenade, aiming to kill the leeches and himself. And I'm like, whoa, Doc. Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal, man. This is a kids' program, man.
Like, what? It's just such a they got me. Well, we're all going to die. I'd at least try fight them off a bit first before you do that.
Going to be eaten alive, man.
Maybe. But Razak uses a flamethrower to burn the leeches off, grabs the grenade and throws it away before it blows up. So yay for Razak. Yep. The fight continues though as more leeches arrive. But fire seems to work and Doc and Razak escape. So fire seems to be the jam here. Not so lucky for Rico and Carmen. Rico is unconscious now. So Carmen uses his rifle to continue to shoot, the aim being to get a hole big enough to shoot a flare up it. So that's a good idea. Yeah. You're already stuck. Can't make it any worse, right? Razak and Doc arrive back at the ship, but no other team is there. We then see Brrraains to fire and battle with big bugs, and these are bugs that shoot out jets of flame. Basically, big versions of the Fireflies. Yeah. Brrraains says they will have to run for it as they don't have enough ammo to continue the fight. Brrraains fires off some rockets, gets a call from Razak, and then gets attacked by one of the bugs. This happens as he shoots some more rockets, forcing them directly in the air and almost killing him into fire. Yep. And it's a bit like, it's a very action-packed opening episode, but it's just like, it's interesting to see the Roughnecks, this great team, bollocksing everything up around them.
Pretty much everything that can go wrong goes wrong.
Yeah. As Rico and Carmen set their plan in motion, we see the asteroid is teeming with bugs, because they had to start coming over the hills. And I thought that was a cool... The images this campaign does of when they're flowing over the hills is quite scary. Yeah. The rest of the Roughnecks are fighting them off the best they can. Dizzy then sees Rico's laser, which they've been using to shoot up, and Dizzy goes solo to rescue them. Unfortunately for her, some of the bugs also see the signal and head that way too. In the hole, Karma tries to reach the Roughnecks via radio, but gets no response. However, above them, the snow begins to melt, having the pair believe they are saved. Unfortunately for them, it's the bugs. Bugs are like, hey!
Hi.
It's us! We came to say hello! Carmen and Rico dive under the water to avoid the flame jets, but these bugs can also swim. And you're like, fucking hell, give them a chance. Do you know what I mean? Dizzy arrives though and blows the bugs out of the water, because everybody gets saved inevitably.
Of course.
Back at the ship, Gossard theorises about the asteroid. Either the Valley Forge got it horribly wrong, or the asteroid has transformed since the initial reading was done.
The Valley Forge get it wrong?
Well, as we will see in a bit. Razak wonders about the scientists when a signal on the radio is found, and briefly we see one of the scientists reporting to the Valley Forge that they are okay and the Zephyr team is nowhere to be seen. Note the background of the scientist. The sunny and relaxed background around the scientists. They're in the wrong place. Xander wakes up and says what we all know. They've landed on the wrong asteroid.
Of course.
It's like fucking hell. There's some discussion about this, the fact they can't take off, and that the asteroid is the right one for the toxin that the scientists were after. So it's the wrong asteroid for the scientists, but it's the right asteroid for the toxin. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting touch.
Definitely.
We see Rico try to hold Carmen's hand, but she pulls away. Awkward. Razak, well, also, no, part of it as well is stop being unprofessional.
Yeah, actually, do you know, it's not awkward because she's actually in the right.
Yeah. Like, well, we're holding hands while you're taking orders and things like that.
Exactly.
Don't do that. Razak orders the team to dig in until they can find a way out. And we then see that this asteroid is one of many, many others in orbit, making it seem like it's going to be very difficult to find them. It's a strong opener.
Yeah.
Sets up the asteroid, sets up the development, sets up the bugs, sets the different style, but also sets up a couple of things, small things in motion that don't feel important now, because right now it's like, Zana got hurt, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Trust us. That is going to use the analogy for the asteroid. It's a snowball. And it's starting to roll downhill.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's an interesting stuff. Beyond that, it's action.
Yeah.
But it's good action, I think. I was quite happy with this so far.
Yeah, definitely.
But we do move on as Higgins brings us up to speed about a hopeless situation. Dizzy and Rico on patrol, and the former teases Rico about his relationship with Carmen. They hear some bugs in the distance, and Higgins fills us in on where they came from. It seems as though the ones that hatched inside Xander and flew out of the ship evolved in the atmosphere really quickly and then started mating like crazy. And okay, all right, I'll buy that.
I don't.
Different atmosphere.
I don't. I think that is just full of bugs already. All the asteroids are full of bugs.
So you're arguing
because I don't understand how like 4 little fireflies made millions of bugs. In a couple of days, it's unrealistic.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you. I think like the sci-fi show aspect means you can give everything a little bit of a break on that front. But apparently now we're calling them fireflies, and this annoyed the fuck out of me. I was like, what the hell? Just call them fireflies.
I know.
Fireflies.
It's so hard to say that.
It's awkward, isn't it? So if I get that wrong as we do this video and call them fireflies, I don't care. They're just fire, whatever. Rico reports in and is ordered to take out the bugs approaching the down ship. On the Valley Forge, the order is given for the scientists to leave the asteroid and return to the ship. Once back, the Valley Forge will be leaving as they consider the Zephyr team MIA. Okay.
That was nice of them.
Well, I mean, if you've got other things you need to be doing, you
Yeah,
can't be hanging around
course.
for a missing team, unfortunately. You have to just hope they survive, or presume and say they're dead already. But this is all seen by the Roughnecks, who managed to key into transmission. Time is limited now, and they discuss their options. Doc suggests they collect the toxin to distract the rest of the team from their impending doom. Fair enough. Right, we're all in trouble. We can't do much about it at the moment. While they're trying to fix the ship and do whatever, get the rest of the team to go get the toxin.
Yeah.
We need it anyway.
Yeah.
Razak gives the order and a team is sent out. On the ship, Dizzy is annoyed about being left behind again, but Xander, who appears to be feeling a bit better, doesn't mind. He's like, oh yeah, me and you get to hang out. Gossard and Higgins are still trying to boost the radio, but it is just about working. As the sun goes down, he notices a rock formation that suggests a natural resource that works as a conductor, and he sends Higgins and Dizzy to go look after him. Seeing Dizzy with Xander, though, Higgins decides to go alone. And I was like, right, two things here were highlighted for me. What? That's not like Higgins at all.
No.
Oh, well, she's having some fun time with Xander. I'll go alone. It's, Higgins.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's obviously improved majorly, but there's no way Razak would let.
Well, Razak's not there. No,
Yeah,
bear in mind, Razak's there. It's Higgins' decision because he doesn't even tell Gossard.
Yeah, well then that's
It's
just
Higgins.
Higgins being an absolute idiot, and Razak would have whipped him a new.
Absolutely.
Yeah, easily.
Right, the second is Gossard. This is now becoming a problem for me. And it will continue to be a problem that I would have to the point where I started to note it here.
Yep.
Gossard is becoming a bit of a MacGuffin. And I don't love that. So if you don't know what a MacGuffin is something convenient, someone convenient, put in place to sometimes explain something unexplainable and get you around a plot hole issue and stuff like that. It often just randomly pops up to the point where you're like, what?
Yep.
Like that shouldn't, like that's convenient. We'd make a joke about it. Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah.
Gossard is turning into that. Whatever the problem is, Gossard can find an answer.
Yep.
A rock formation, or we can, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Or he can fix something. And you start getting to the point where you're like, wait, what is Gossard's actual skills? And it feels like he can do everything, and it's starting to get a bit lazy.
That's the problem, because obviously, surely if he was that much of an advanced engineer, he'd be fucking. He wouldn't be a bloody private. Where Carl is now, bloody.
I feel like he'd be used a lot differently than he is with the amount of skills he apparently has. But this one just didn't work for me. I was like, oh, he's seen a natural rock formation and gone, oh, we might be able to use that
for me,
to boost the radio.
Yeah, for me, the whole communication thing is whatever news is. If you're on an asteroid, surely this spinning of the trajectory is going to break communications because you're further away.
Yeah.
So I mean, Armageddon did it, but the Martian did the Martian man, whatever did it, is because of the spinning asteroid, whatever. There's no signals.
But it'd also be a question of it is spinning on an axis.
Yeah.
There'll be certain points where the signal will be boosted naturally when it spins in a certain direction.
Exactly. Yeah.
The issue I have with that is that they seem to be able to get communications from the Valley Forge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all just a bit too convenient, and it's a bit like, oh, there's a natural rock formation. I can apparently use that to boost the radio. Yep. I'm like, sci-fi not show. You're going to have to do a bit better explaining that to me.
Yeah.
But we'll get into more of Gossard's innate ability to fix everything out of nothing.
Yeah.
Razak and his team have arrived at the location that should hold some of the toxin and blow a hole in the ground, because the MI way. Blow holes and everything. Brrraains to fire on patrol, and Brrraains calls back to Gossard to report the lack of action. Gossard fills him in on his plan, realising that Higgins went alone. He looks out the window to see Higgins walking through the snow as bugs follow. Dizzy gets geared up to go after him. Higgins arrives and finds the mineral, obviously, that Gossard wanted, but turns to see bugs approaching. Meanwhile, the other teams are underground and have found the toxin, but have walked into a nest of leeches. They plant a bomb and back out fighting. They find themselves surrounded though, so Razak orders the bomb deactivated. But as Rico goes to do it, he walks into a wall of leeches and one jumps on his face. Meanwhile, Higgins is also in trouble, and he thinks it's all over as he tries to dodge fire jets. This is one of those where you got yourself into this, I don't have as much sympathy.
Yeah.
Rico manages to free himself of the leeches but can't get to the bomb, and he tells Razak to take cover, but there is no cover. I like that. Carmen, go on.
The whole setting of Bomber 2, literally, you're in an area with chemicals, you have no idea what I mean, that reaction could have blown the entire asteroid up. That's
True.
kind of ridiculous.
You are right, actually. They've got no idea how this toxin might react with that kind of fire, and particularly in a cave environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you could just blow the whole fucking thing up. Carmen then uses the natural methane and a flare to kill all the leeches. That's not enough time to stop the bomb though, and the group are forced to run. And admittedly though, the explosion is pretty cool looking. It's big, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Higgins has still done everything he can to dodge the bugs, but Dizzy arrives just in time, because everybody gets saved. The Roughnecks have survived their incident. Doc then realises that the leeches hold a toxin. It's like an excretion. So, okay, that's cool. Dizzy and Higgins arrive above the ship and see it under assault. Dizzy wants to go help, but Higgins says they have to get the resource before it's too late, and they can't contact anyone because they're out of range. Convenient. Gossard calls for help, and Xander pitches in, the pair getting on turrets to take out as many bugs as possible. Yeah. I actually really like one of the things this episode does new is it utilises the turrets of the ship quite regularly, and you kind of get that feel of power. But this is also the first start of what's a building thing throughout this, which is the ship's grounded, and it's like it's constantly under assault.
Yeah, I remember...
Constantly.
I was saying that before we started. This episode had, when I was a kid, I actually thought that this is the one where they all die.
Right.
They're trapped on that asteroid. Their ship's screwed. They got no communication. They're going to run out of ammo and food. They're all dead.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. Dizzy and Higgins get some crystals and head back to the ship. Brrraains A Head-Banging then arrive and start pitching in. What?
They get some crystal meth.
Rozak orders the team back to the ship as a storm picks up, but it's too late as it blows through the cave and the team are forced to tie themselves to the wall. Carmen's line comes loose though and she is blown outward. She's not quite gone yet though. She manages to grab onto a stalagmite, one that then grows tentacles and wraps around her. I like this. Yeah. You're like, okay, new threat. The storm dissipates and the team try to contact Carmen. They race outside, but she is gone. Doc points out that she probably got blasted into space. Cheers, Doc. Really positive fucking shit there. But Rico refuses to believe she is gone. They then hear the radio call from Gossard. Rozak orders the team to assist, much to Rico's annoyance. He tries to radio call her again, promising to come back for her. I know there's this thing like, we don't leave men behind. We don't leave a roughneck behind. This isn't what Rozak's doing. No. He's thinking the same thing. She's fucking gone, mate. She's fucking floating out there, and that's the end of that.
Yep.
Brrraains A Head arrive at the ship and launch some missiles to take out some of the bugs. Draw some more towards the launcher and then blowing them up too. They then ski down while Dizzy arrives to rescue Higgins, but in the fight, her visor is burnt and she can't see. She still managed to take out a bug that was about to attack Higgins. They make a joke about, being better than him blind. Yeah. They're then helped out by Brrraains A Head, so lots of bug shooting and shit. We then see Carmen cutting herself free from the tentacles because nobody ever really dies in this show. No. Near the ship, the bug fight continues until they are all killed and everyone reconvenes on the ship. Xander and Dizzy share a moment and Gossard reveals the crystals Higgins went for have boosted the signal and an SOS is broadcasting. Happy days. Yep. Rico demands to go search for Carmen, but Rozak refuses. Rico says that he's going to search for her alone, but as he goes to leave, Carmen arrives. And I was a bit like, well, that's fucking anticlimactic, isn't it?
Convenient.
Well, it's just anticlimactic. It's like, why did you even do the thing where she got blown away? If all she does is walk back in.
All you needed was Gossard to pop in and go, oh, hang on, she's right here.
Yeah, exactly that. Or no, I'll create this thing to go find her. The group then get a broadcast saying that SOS has been received and they all cheer. Rico sees Carmen and Xander hugging and seems to get jealous. Okay, what's your problem?
Well, it's like, I mean, it doesn't tell you how long they've been together and the development of the relationship.
Listen, I'm going to stop you in your tracks because I want to talk about Rico and Carmen, but not in this campaign. Okay, yeah. I want to talk about it because we are, listen to my words, at this point, the show has made it clear, Rico and Carmen are boyfriend and girlfriend. Yes. But one certainly doesn't seem to really want to be boyfriend and girlfriend, yes. Right? That's super important. We will be back to this later. A Higgins voiceover reveals that the Roughnecks are just waiting rescue. The rescue ship is getting ready to land, but then the asteroid seems to shift position, resulting in the ship crashing. It's like, okay, unlucky. So the Roughnecks set out to find it and hopefully any survivors. Making their way across the asteroid, the Roughnecks are struggling with the landscape and being watched by the tentacle creatures. So, unfortunately, these tentacle creatures aren't that big of a thing, but they felt like they were going to be.
Yes.
And I like the idea of them watching. Yep. Now, I kind of give it a pass because of how this campaign ends and what it reveals, and seeing it as more part of that than individual things itself.
Yeah.
Of course, we get some bug action involving one group on a cliff edge that they survive. You might find me gloss over bug fights now a little bit more because it's the same thing. There's lots of shooting, bugs die.
Yeah.
Higgins, Xander and Gossard remained at the ship, and Gossard gives the camera boy some shit about recording videos. I like this. Gossard's the one who kind of get a little bit annoyed about it here.
Yeah.
It's like, we've got shit going on and you've got that fucking camera out again. No?
I like it because obviously, it's Gossard doing it, but I mean, that's what he was employed to do.
Yeah, it is. It's like, by this point, like, get over it. Yeah, get over it. But they are interrupted by an alarm that turns out to be the beacon of the crashed ship. Gossard tries to contact them and gets no response. He also sees that the rescue teams have been sent out in the wrong place. He tries to contact Razak, but the signal is messy. So seeing that the rescue teams are going in the wrong direction, Xander decides to go and takes Higgins with him. Because that's a team that you want together. Xander and Higgins.
Yeah. An injured Xander too.
Yeah. More bug stuff on the cliff as Carmen and Tafai take charge, which I thought was an interesting pairing. Carmen and Tafai together. I was like, okay, at least the campaign's putting different people together.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I don't really think they've interacted up to this point.
No.
They reconvene and notice that the leeches with the toxin are also poisonous to the bugs. And that's where this campaign gets really interesting.
Yep.
As we start doing this thing, okay, so the leeches might be natural to this asteroid.
Yep. And
they're a problem for the bugs. Gossard finally gets through to Razak and informs him of what he's found out. Unsurprisingly, Razak is not happy to hear that Higgins and Xander have gone off alone and gives the order for the rest of the Roughnecks to return to the ship. As we see Xander and Higgins arrive at the crashed ship, and Xander reports in to Gossard. So the signal wasn't working to Razak until it was then working to Razak, because Razak's able to call, but the signal is working to... I don't even get...
It picks and chooses
when it wants to work, yeah. But Xander gets no response. We should point that out as well.
Yes.
He gets ready to go inside, but a bug reaches up and drags him in, and the entry point closing it in behind him. Higgins is unable to get to him in time, and we cut to Razak watching the footage. Yeah, I really like that, because we cut to Razak as the footage is like watching the footage, and there's this bug that pops up, grabs him by the head, drags him in, it closes. Higgins drops the camera. I like that touch as well. It's not like Higgins just stands there, tries to open the hatch but can't. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool scene, but again, for me, it sort of also has for me it develops Xander's character a bit more too. The fact that he was so arrogant to think that because he's a lieutenant, that he'll go by himself with a rookie. Yeah,
it's a bad decision for starters, and you could argue he wasn't being careful enough.
And I said we never had a scene between Xander and Razak with him saying like, you took my troopers and put me at risk. One of my troopers. Yeah,
there's interesting stuff, but also it's kind of like, okay, Xander's at risk, and the problem is with this show. But this point for me, I'm like, well, they're just going to go down and rescue him.
Yeah,
might be a bit different. Higgins is distraught, and the rest of the Roughnecks argue about the decision to go alone. Razak then orders Rico, Carmen, and Tafai to stay with the ship and gets it ready to fly, while the rest head off to the crashed ship and the missing Xander. I don't quite follow Razak's thoughts there. You're leaving Rico and Tafai.
Your best trooper.
You leave Higgins, Gossard, and Carmen behind. Are the three you leave. Don't get that at all.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
They arrive, it all looks quiet, but Razak is prepared for any attack. They blow open the hatch and nothing comes out, so they go inside. Inside, it all seems to be clear as they go down dark corridors. See an alien? This is what this is. It's giving you that serious vibe.
Yeah.
But they do find dead bugs. They then hear the cries of Xander and find him completely out of it amongst a bunch of dead bugs. The crew is missing, dead bugs, Xander a bit out of it. The situation just isn't looking very good. But it's also puzzling. Because why are all the bugs dead?
Yeah.
The Roughnecks take the ship's fuel cells for their ship and leave, but run into a lot of bugs convening on them outside. They make a ski for it, because that's what they do. But come to a gorge and are forced to hold back while they make a rope bridge. Xander's out of it behaviour gets him in trouble as he basically wanders off towards the bugs. And Dizzy goes after him. Razak and some of the other Roughnecks rescue them and just about get over the bridge, but in doing that, Gossard drops one of the fuel cells. While the fight continues, Gossard heads down to get it. They don't really have time for this, but it's a close call in the end and they all get away safely. Obviously.
Of course.
Obviously. But it's a decent enough little action sequence.
Yeah.
And you constantly going, what's the deal with Xander?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
They're closing in on ship but are being pursued. It's like the bugs know they're trying to leave. I thought that was a really interesting touch.
Yes, definitely.
The ship's crew get on the guns while Gossard attempts to fit the fuel cells. A bit of heroics from Dizzy as she jumps outside to shoot bugs. Well, why are you shaking your head? Another old heroics.
Yeah, but it's always Dizzy. Even in a goddamn film, it's Dizzy.
Oh, it's not Rico as well. They're the two hotheads, though.
Oh, yeah, true.
They've been established as the two hotheads.
The two young teenagers,
Yes.
well, like 18, 20 years. That's
I think they're in their early 20s at best,
Yeah.
Gossard finishes and Carmen manages to get the ship firing. Dizzy gets on board as the ship gets ready to take off. Carmen begins to take the ship up, but it is rough. And it looks good until a stowaway bug forces her way on and stares down Xander. This is an awesome scene.
Yes.
He is wide-eyed as he looks at the bug, and the bug looks at him. And we then go into the vision of the bug, the first time they've done this.
Yeah, brilliant it is, yeah.
And it's like, okay. And when it looks at Xander, it almost seems, briefly, his head to take the shape of a bug. And I was, I thought that was great.
Yeah,
I thought that was great.
Brilliant.
Because it's like, oh, he's a bug now. And it's like, no, it's not as simple as that.
No.
But it was like, okay, it's really interesting.
Yep.
The rest of the Roughnecks now see the bug and manage to rescue Xander, killing it via space air. They lock it in there. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Carmen is having trouble getting the ship out of the asteroid's atmosphere and inevitably can't and crashes the ship on a different part. And looks like they're stuck again. I really liked this episode.
Yeah.
Thought we did some interesting stuff. And again, that snowball we talked about, that's really picking up speed now. And at the bottom of that hill is a lovely little town that's about to get flattened.
Yep.
Higgins talks about the asteroid changing and becoming more and more unstable. He also talks about Xander seemingly losing his mind as we see him watching the video of his capture over and over again. So I think they do some really good stuff here about sort of Xander's kind of craziness. Yeah.
Yeah, see, for me, obviously, well, I can't say, but for me, it's him looking at him and like not realising that's him.
Maybe, but I still at this point I see it as a sort of fractured memory kind of thing more than anything else. But well, we'll get to that. I think we will get to that.
Yeah.
Dizzy stops him and Doc pulls him out. The group discuss their options. They're very limited. They need another fuel cell and have used up half the poison gas. Gossard suggests that they could use it to create a barrier around the ship as the bugs come racing over a hill. Thanks, Gossard. So now we can just create barriers using gas that won't dissipate in the atmosphere.
Yep.
Sure, why not? Why not?
Yep.
What else? It's just another Gossard thing. What we're complaining about,
exactly,
you know? Yeah. Rico, Dizzy, and Tafai volunteer to create a diversion, lead the bugs away so Gossard can set up the barrier and then lead them back to the poison. The defensive and diversion plan start, and it's the usual bug killing stuff. Nothing particularly interesting. The interesting stuff is going on the ship as Xander is freaking out and Carmen is checking on him and he says he's okay. And I'm a bit surprised, particularly by the Roughnecks here, and particularly Razor. I know options are limited, but you do have Doc.
Yes.
This should be looked into more. He's clearly not okay, but they seem to kind of just be going, no, Xander be fine.
Should have sedated him and strap him down.
Like, he's clearly traumatized at least.
Yes.
Maybe you need to look into that. The poison barrier plan works, of course. However, Rico and his group have made a mistake and end up trapped. And the rest of the Roughnecks attempt the rescue. But they're distracted by Xander leaving the ship, unarmed, and wandering off somewhere. Cool.
Wouldn't it happen if he had been sedated?
Yeah, well, there were times in a bit where they'll sedate him and then he's like awake 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important aspect as well, that maybe it doesn't work. Yeah. Rico does into fire running out of ammo. Xander arrives though and stands in the bug's way, then leads them to an area that then collapses, sending him and the bugs down into the depths. It's like, wow, that was pretty cool.
Yep.
Dizzy's distraught. So he's pretty upset about it. I know the problem is that the relationship isn't well defined.
No.
So it's hard to kind of feel sympathy the way for Dizzy.
So for me, it's not like that. She's fallen for him way too fast.
Yeah.
Or is it to try and make Rico jealous?
Maybe. I wouldn't necessarily make him jealous, but like more falling for him too fast is certainly a strong point. And maybe trying to replace Rico is something she's trying to force through. Yeah. Back in the ship, the group discuss what happened and believe Xander to be dead. Higgins is recording a goodbye message for his parents as the rest cue to do the following. Of course, bugs arrive. Admittedly, it's beginning to look bleak as Razak says they will fight until he run out of bullets. Bugs are Roughnecks. That's the shit I love about Razak. Yeah. It's like bullets, bugs are Roughnecks.
Yep.
We'll adhere to the end. That's what I love about him.
Yep.
He also orders Gossard and Carmen to keep trying to get them off the ground and then promotes Rico as Razak heads out to fight the bugs. So Rico's first promotion comes here.
Yep.
The odds seem slim, but they fight. And it's actually fucking epic.
It is, yeah.
This is an epic scene. It all looks to be over until the ground begins to explode and collapse. The ship is caught in it and as the Roughnecks get aboard. Carmen tries to stabilise the ship with its thrusters, but it inevitably falls down, falling into a very deep cave and landing in some liquid at the bottom. Gossard checks the ship and it sees it's running out of oxygen now. You're like, for fuck's sake,
What next?
pile it on, man.
Yeah.
Brrrr orders some troops to go and find some and puts Rico in charge while he is gone, as Razak has been injured in all of this. This is actually quite a long sequence, the fight and all that. It's probably the best sequence in this campaign.
Yeah, and it also, as you said, it gives Rico his first command.
Yeah, gives Rico first command. Really does a sense that they are really, really in trouble. Particularly as it now piles another thing with the oxygen and falling into this cave on top of it.
This is why I said that this episode, I actually thought when I first saw it as a kid on TV, this is it. There's no coming back for this.
There's always a cool thing that I love to sort of see when it comes to trouble. And during the fight, it focused on the ammo counter on the weapons and showing it running out.
Yeah.
You're like, there's a cool touch. Brrrr and Doc have to use the Marauders as the liquid is corrosive. So, another thing. Gossard, and again, at the time I was like, oh, well, just another thing to deal with. Oh, you will actually get why it's corrosive in a bit. Gossard does try to monitor them, but the signaling is lost. Rico is asked what to do, but he doesn't really know what to do. It's all okay, though, because Razak comes around. And I was like, okay, so injury didn't really mean that much then, did it? No. We see Brrrr and Doc making their way through this very unusual location.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. It's certainly visually different to what's above. Doc finds an oxygen reader, but they're running out of time. We see Dizzy crying over Xander as Rico looks on, rather than try and comfort her. Things are about to get worse, though, as the ship now has a leak. It's like, fucking hell, guys. Give him a break, right?
Give him a chance. For
Yeah. The asteroid continues to shake and crack, and bugs fall in but die in the corrosive liquid. That's an interesting touch.
Yep.
Doc and Gossard then see the birth area for the Fireflies, and that the leeches are actually trying to kill them like an infection. That's what it's described as by Doc.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, so they're not friends.
Nope.
Okay. They accidentally unleash them, though, and Doc and Gossard are forced to use flamethrowers. On their ship, they're attempting to fix the holes. Doc and Gossard can't handle the number of Fireflies, and then things get weird. As someone, or let's be honest at this stage, something emerges from the gloom surrounded by the Fireflies, or fries, if you want to call them, and it's Xander. Interesting. It's cool, it's a very creepy scene.
Yeah, proper.
At the ship, Fireflies start eating through the hole, and the Roughnecks come under attack. And to be honest, man, at this stage, you're right, what you're saying. You're like, you're fucked, right? Like, there's no real way around this, you know? It actually looks like it's all over for them as they get covered in bugs. However, Xander arrives, laughs manically. I'm not too sure about the laugh.
Yeah.
It's a bit cheesy.
Yeah.
While seemingly able to send the Fireflies away. Everyone reconvenes and sets about fixing up the ship. Dizzy hugs Xander, but she notices his face is a bit off here. Razak asks Xander what happened, and he says that the bugs understand him. Don't want to look into that, Razak?
Yeah,
Don't be like...
This is this entire area should have been looked at.
What bothers me is that while it's not necessarily the behaviour of having a mind control bug in you, is it not similar to that?
Pretty much, yeah.
Why would you not think, oh, he's got a mind control bug in him? Yeah.
He wasn't killed. The bugs are not attacking him.
Yeah.
They're listening to him. So it's...
Probably worth looking, but they're
exactly.
ignoring that part. Brrrr and Doc reveal they found air, and Doc suggests this intriguing idea. The asteroid is alive. And this just, everyone's like, ooh, except for Xander, who goes, what the fuck? I'm not too sure about the laugh, man. It's just a little bit too cheesy.
It is cheesy, but I said if it was a better laugh, it would have been a very eerie moment.
Yes, true, yeah. Higgins reports in, delivering a message that will be used should they die. It seems as though they think the asteroid is actually a living bug, and that they're inside its belly. And you're like, oh, actually, a lot of this makes sense. That's stomach acid.
Yep.
That's what this is. The plan is to try and hold out by getting the oxygen supply back to the ship. Xander has now been locked into a safety seat for his own protection as he is freaking out. So at least they got that far and we're like, all right, let's lock this cunt up.
Finally, yeah.
The rest of the Roughnecks are making their way through the intestines of the bug, because now we kind of understand what it is, to find the supply. Brrrr has an accident and falls to a lower area, and Rico goes after him. Dizzy and Doc continue the mission while Rico finds Brrrr unconscious. When he tries to follow them on Brrrr, though, the entryway is closed, forcing him to head back to Razak. Along the way, Brrrr wakes up and freaks out on Johnny's shoulder. But they're found by Razak and Rico reports in. Razak orders him and Defy back to the ship with Brutal and orders Rico and Higgins to go after Dizzy and Doc. Stop sending Higgins! Although this is going to lead to a very funny scene.
Yes, yeah.
He also tells Defy to set the ship's self-destruct system, so if they don't make it back, they can at least take the bug out of him. I'm like, God, you lot love bums, you know? But it is very much a do or die time.
Yeah.
We either do this or we all die, right? Dizzy and Doc continue their route and eventually find the O2. Higgins and Rico are following them and notice that the tube is pumping air. Before Doc and Dizzy can finish what they're doing, though, another hole opens up and sucks them in deeper. This door also opens up the entry for Rico and Higgins. So it's almost like a breathing tubes.
Yeah.
And like one opens and sucks air through this way and then it opens another one, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
At the ship, Razak and the rest are back. Things are getting depressing as Gossard offers out tranquilizers. Why? They have less than an hour's worth of air, so they might as well be comfortable. And I was like, that is the most depressing shit ever.
Kid show.
Yay! Hey guys, let's all take tranquilizers so that when we all run out of air, you won't feel it as much.
Basically,
That's fucking horrible!
Oh, no, and this is a kid show, man. You spend 8:30 in the morning, man.
Exactly, do you know what I mean? Mummy, what does tranquilizers mean? Good God. Tafia set the auto-destruct, but he reminds Gossard that if he isn't around and air comes, turn the bloody thing off. I like that scene. Outside, Razak notices the air pipe coming in line and Gossard starts checking things. Rico and Higgins are searching for Dizzy and Doc and find themselves at the point where they got sucked away. It is closed now, but Higgins is in trouble, coming off drunk because his air is running out. Higgins refuses Rico's air and tells him to go and save Dizzy and Doc. He will wait right where he is. And I'm just like, man, everyone has been a hero in this campaign. But again, it's a powerful moment because it's like, look, you need the air to save them. That will save 3 people instead of saving me. Or you give me a air and all of us getting in trouble, you know? It's kind of cool. Rico also knows it's the sensible decision, so heads off and finds a way down to a lower area. On the ship, Xander is awake and struggling with his binds. He screams about fire, bright fires, and being born to burn. Sounds like he's writing a fucking metal song. This seems to make Gossard think, and he asks Brutal to direct him where they found all the fireflies. Classic Gossard moment coming. What does Gossard find out when he goes and looks? That the bug and the fireflies have a symbiotic relationship. The fireflies feed off the bug, and the bug uses them for fuel. He reports this to Razak, and they realise they might be able to use the fireflies as fuel to get off the bug asteroid. Wow, man. Fuck me, is that a convenient idea? There's also a lot of ifs.
Yep.
You know, I find it irritating, but I accept it because we need some way to push this. We know they're not all going to die.
No.
We know that. So how are we going to get off this planet, this asteroid? Here we go. Razak orders them to look into it as he goes off to find his missing troopers. Talking of which, Dizzy and Doc are wandering lost, but alive. At the ship, the group are attempting to collect fireflies in the fuel pipe. Razak then finds a very drunk Higgins and gives him air. Higgins drunk, like delirious. That's what it is. I'm saying drunk, but it's delirious. Is quite funny.
It is funny.
What song is he singing?
Oh, bloody hell.
He's singing a song when Razak finds him. I can't. It's not Jimmy Crack Corn, is it?
Yeah.
No. Is it Jimmy Crack Corn?
Yeah, it's a
I think it's Jimmy Crack Corn.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the ship, they realise that the fireflies are very combustible. And while the plan will work, they only have 30 minutes before the creatures combust. Because, of course, you would know time that these creatures would blow up in your fuel tanks.
Of course.
So, all right, fair enough. I'll accept it. It's fine. It's fine. Dizzy and Doc run into trouble with leeches and are forced to use shock sticks as they have no ammo. The sound echoes through the tunnel and Rico hears it, allowing him to arrive and save them. Razak and Higgins then arrive shortly afterwards. At the ship, they're getting ready to go and Carmen notices that Xander's gone. So fucking hell, people, keep an eye on Xander. Tafai suggests that Gossard... What am I saying the names wrong? Tafai suggests that Gossard moved him already. Carmen isn't happy that they're about to leave the others behind, but Gossard reminds them that they have no choice. We all stay, we all die. I had orders and stuff like that. But Gossard notices something is wrong though, and turns around to see Xander messing around with the fuel supply. Gossard tells him to stay away from it, but Xander declares that we are not for you to burn. I really love that line.
Yeah, really
I
cool,
really love it.
Yep.
Gossard struggles to stop him and is knocked down. Tafai arrives and is also knocked down. Xander then reactivates auto-destruct before forcing his way past the troopers. It's like full-on fucking Xander trying to stop this mission from happening. He then breaches the airlock, but begins to collapse just as Razak and the rest arrive back. They carry him back aboard. Defy drops the auto-destruct from the ship, and Gossard fixes the fuel supply. So we're almost there. They take off and manage to escape the atmosphere. We then see that the ice was just a cover as the bug fully emerges and goes after them. So it was basically asleep.
Yeah. And
their behaviour on it woke it up. Those fissures were the ice beginning to crack as it was waking up. As they're about... And it's huge. It's fucking huge.
Oh, yeah.
And as they're about to be swallowed up, Carmen activates the burners and the bomb goes off, destroying the bug and allowing the Roughnecks to get away. Higgins then talks about these specific bugs called planet destroyers. And there was a lot of them around as well, hidden in asteroids. We will never see them again.
Nope.
Which I am a little bit disappointed about. Particularly as there's a scene in Homefront where I think it could have been used quite nicely. But I'll complain about that when we get to it more than anything else. And that's Zephyr campaign. A Zephyr campaign that is mainly two things. About an impossible situation being overcome and Xander.
Yes.
They are the two focuses.
Yeah.
Nothing else character-wise happens here. This is not a character development series.
No, for me, this is all about Xander. It had to obviously for the next season. This is a Xander season for me.
Yeah, it's all about Xander really as well. And the other things I'd point out is that we do touch a little bit more on Carmen and Rico's relationship.
Yeah.
And mainly the fact that this is never going to work out. That aspect more than anything else. But mainly it's all a focus on Xander and what happened to him. Because what I like as well is we still don't fully understand. You have an inkling, you have an idea, you have these thoughts in your head, but you don't actually know what's gone on here, what it means. But also it's probably one of the more horror aspects the show's ever done.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the fact that the shit keeps getting piled on the Roughnecks throughout this. Here's one problem. Here's another. Here's another. Here's another. Here's another. My issue becomes that it's not that they find a way out of it. They have to.
Yeah, of course.
It's the fact that the ways they're finding out of it aren't stuff that was already available. It's like, oh, here's a thing we can now use.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, come on, man. Come on.
Again, I'm going to do a Red Dwarf reference.
Go on.
It's like the liquid luck.
Yeah.
Oh, it's that machine like. Oh, and there's another one.
It's liquid luck.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
It's liquid
All
luck.
I need is literally right now. Oh, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah, you take a little swig of it and you're the luckiest person and exactly what you need will be there. You'll be able to instantly guess keypad, key card. Exactly. You just get lucky, basically.
With the whole Xander thing, because obviously I was saying during our talk that why didn't they question it? I can forgive them for that because under all the stress that's going on, that's not a priority.
Yep. You're thinking we've got so much shit going on.
Yeah.
We can't just stop and deal with this. It's not like Doc isn't busy doing a lot of other stuff, and that you can worry and deal with Xander when you get back to the Valley Forge or hook up with some other MI troops elsewhere. I do think it's forgivable. But overall, Zephyr, considering it's 5 episodes long, really feels like it could have been condensed to 2.
Yeah.
Really could have been condensed to 2 at most, I think. 3 out of push, and we would have got enough. I love the idea about the asteroid being a bug. I really, really do love that. My issue was more, they never developed that any further than here.
No, yeah.
And that sucks, particularly when it ends and Higgins talks about them being called planet destroyers. And you're like, ooh, that's really interesting.
Do you think, again, it's a reference to the film, but do you think that's what the asteroids are, which are destroyers again on the beach? The planet destroyers?
No, I think that's just asteroids fired out. Yeah. That's it, to cause destruction. Maybe had Starship Troopers become a franchise, that might have been something developed upon further along. I draw more comparisons to a game like Dead Space 3 with the moon and that aspect, like that kind of thing, or even simpler, Reapers. Yeah, Reapers, you know, that kind of thing from Mass Effect, destructive huge beings that go to planet to planet to planet to planet. You know, that kind of thing.
Or what's the creature from Star Wars?
The creature from Star Wars.
Where they land in his mouth, don't they?
Oh, right, the worming thing in the asteroid. Yeah, I guess, I mean, that's
like,
that could have been an inspiration idea more than anything else. But overall, the whole location just isn't that interesting. The idea about the toxin kind of just gets abandoned and then replaced with this whole survival aspect more than anything else. Yeah. So that's not that interesting. There's a lot of conveniences in this one, and there's a lot of perils that people get into and are just rescued from that makes it a little harder a little bit harder again to take seriously because you're constantly like, they're always rescued, they're always rescued, they're
I like
always
some of the
rescued.
gunfights. I mean,
There are some good ones.
Gossard and Xandon on the ship.
Yep.
With the turrets. That's a cool scene.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, the final last stand.
Yeah, stand, yeah.
That's a really good one as well before they fall into the belly of the beast.
Yep.
There's a lot of interesting ideas, and as we said already, that uber fucking depressing tranquilizer scene is generally like a shocking moment. And I'd love to say it gets brighter from here, but it doesn't. Nope. Similar to... God, what would I compare it to? What else did we watch that sort of took a really dark turn as you watched on? I'm trying to think. Conquest, is that a good example?
It would have been, yeah, because obviously the ending of Conquest.
Yeah, well, it's not quite like that.
Yeah.
Not quite like that.
No.
The Roughnecks is taking a different turn now. We're going to develop on that in the next campaign. But for now, this is Zephyr. You know what to do. You've got thoughts on it. You can't agree with our middle-of-the-road feelings about it? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon and help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?